Our client, Lakeview Elementary, came to us and they need playground equipment that is accessible to all their children with disabilities. We plan on creating a wheelchair accessible sandbox that is durable and safe for these children. Okay, so my design was the double table. It featured like a zigzag sort of design with a lower level and an upper level connected by a sheet of plywood, and then the lower level was for like kids in wheelchairs for sitting play, and then the upper level was for standing play. The bins on the lower level were a little bit like more shallow so that the wheelchair can fit completely underneath.
The focus of our second design was on a much simpler shape for the table, but went much more in depth with the theming, so there's a lot more complex parts like the castle and the sea monster cave.
So I designed our third preliminary design, the felt tub sandbox, and I took some inspiration from our double table design. So I took the one table and I made the wheelchair accessible bin, so with the slope, so the wheelchair could go in. And then the main feature was there's just felt or turf around the bin so that it can catch, one can catch sand, and then two, it's just another sensory thing.
All right, so to build the table, we started by cutting out the hole for the sandbox. And then we sanded that. The next step was cutting out the sides of the sandbox from our big plywood sheet that we bought, sanding those down. Then we cut the legs out of our big 4x4 beams, sanded those. Then we put everything together with big construction screws. Caulked the edges of the sandbox to make it hold the sand. And then we put the turf and the 3D printed animals on, and that was about it.
So I decided to 3D print some of these sea creatures as another feature for our table. And what I did is I just found, we have a starfish like this one, we've got a bunch of textures. We have a sea turtle and a dolphin. And I just imported a file I found and then tweaked them, put some holes in them so we could fasten them on, and that was really it.
To test our prototype, we did a durability test on the 3D printed objects and the table itself to make sure that it can withstand any forces upon it. And then we did a sand containment test to make sure that the table can hold all the sand that will be used by the kids in the table. A problem that we ran into was that the table was a little less sturdy than we intended, so we added another post leg to make the table more durable, and it ended up fixing the problem.